Hey, 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 Fit Mama. Jen Oliver here, your host of the Fit Mama podcast. This is the work in to your workout. Hi, and welcome to episode 18, where I am going to answer the question, is willpower your frenemy? I don't know if you've heard this word before, but frenemy is a combination of the word friend and enemy. So I'm going to answer this for you whether self-regulation or self-control, aka willpower, is your friend or your enemy. What feels like so many moons ago now, I was working in the health and fitness industry as a fitness club manager. A large portion of my job description included sales. So my role was essentially to get people registered at the gym so they could begin coming more regularly to our gym. At the time, I was just 24, 25 years old, and I was very keen. I was that person at the gym that couldn't understand why everyone wasn't a member. I loved the gym. It was so fun. I mean, we had a pool, we had all these weights, we had tons of classes and tanning and personal training, and fitness is fun. Doesn't everyone want to have this much fun? Well, spoiler alert, it turns out that no, they in fact didn't. What I saw a large contrast in when I was doing this signups of the memberships was even the ones who did come in and were gung-ho and keen as I was to join the gym and begin focusing on a healthier them, some came in regularly every day, some came in a few times and then dropped off, and then some never even came in one other time other than when they signed up. Why would they do that? I wondered. You might be thinking, well, it's human nature for one, and it is, and that is what I established. I was like, okay, this is just the way people roll. Some people like things and do things consistently, and other people don't, and they'll find something else to do consistently. But for point number 2, the most often response when I would ask people and follow up with these delinquent gym goers was this: life got in the way. Yeah, there really wasn't much more to it. They were at the gym, they were excited for a new lifestyle change. Before they knew it, they got home and life got in the way. So they picked up where they left off and they were busy, busy, busy. Life intervened and it brought them down from there. So they couldn't see where the gym actually fit into their life. They hadn't had a routine created around it yet. So I was really interested in this, and this, in addition to other things, really intrigued me and a few things about this really intrigued me and led me to studying the psychology of health and exercise. I was very curious about this human behavior, about doing things and continuing or starting and stopping, specifically around health behaviors. So I went back to school and I studied a master's degree in exercise and health psychology, specifically researching how people adopt and maintain health behaviors over time. I researched and I discovered these things over 10 years ago now, actually, and they form the basis of the Love Fit Mama Way and the Fit Mama Foundations program that I created to teach Fit Mamas how to do this exact thing: adopt and maintain health behaviors during the hardest time possibly in their life. When I tell them they're in the weeds, right? When we have a new baby at home or we're in that young toddler stage of parenting, I mean, honestly, I don't have teenagers yet, but I can imagine it's even more intense. Maybe you're not changing diapers, but there are other things that make it more intense. So as parents, this is the time in your life where it's hardest to adopt and maintain health behaviors because you have so many other responsibilities. So how do we do it? Well, when we're young, it's interesting because willpower does have the possibility of really working on our side. We're young, we're energized, we're highly motivated by superficial things because we're constantly figuring out where we fit in the world and how we can fit in so others don't judge us. And this drives us sometimes to eat, exercise, or behave in a way that we can't sustain. What I studied specifically in school was what the power of willpower or self-regulation actually has the potential to be in your life. Self-regulation refers to the exercise of control over oneself, particularly in the context of aligning your current condition with your preferred standard. Self-regulation, willpower, or self-control essentially explains how one overrides their natural tendency by replacing it with something else. So, if your goal is to maintain a healthy weight, you might have to regularly override your natural tendency to want dessert every night after dinner, or eat the birthday cake at every birthday party when everyone else around you is eating it. So you want to be able to override something. If you want the cake, have the cake. This is not a debate about that. This is a debate if you are saying, I want to be more consistent in not having the cake, or in getting to the gym, I want to override what comes naturally to me and replace it with something else that is more aligned with my goals. Roy Baumeister is the lead researcher in this area of self-regulation, or at least he was back in the day, and he still probably is. And he believes that every one of society's observable social or personal problems, i.e. alcoholism, crime, obesity, drug, cigarette, gambling addictions, come from some form of self-regulatory failure. But usually not from one or two bouts of failure, but rather a consistent failure to effectively regulate our own emotions, cognitions, or behavior. And I'm going to expand on this because it's really, really, really important for you to understand this, Fit Mama. This can have potential serious consequences if we don't override these natural tendencies. Because yes, cake is good, we like it, we can have it here and there, but if we're having it every single day, our body is not going to feel good, and it can potentially have serious harm in the future. What Roy Baumeister and all the researchers in self-regulation have found is that our self-control or willpower has a lot to do with how we regulate our own emotions, cognitions, which is our thoughts, and our behavior. So this is really, really interesting. I mean, we all have bad days or rough experiences or times where we can't follow through on the things that we want to follow through on. But it's when we let these one-off blips become our norm and become our way of being. Interestingly, something I talk about now in Fit Mama more than ever is how our emotions are related to our physical body and how our actions are related to our emotions. The science is showing it, and it's now more obvious than ever. Our emotions becoming unregulated without our control, i.e. we start feeling panic and we can't control our thoughts or our emotions. We start doing that thing I call catastrophizing, where we start thinking about all the bad things that could happen and we start worrying and freaking out over things that may never happen. This is unregulated emotions. This starts to be out of control. And what this happens is this happens to give us consequences that in the long term we don't want. And this is one of the reasons that I teach Fit Mamas to meditate. And meditate sounds like it's this big scary thing, but it truly is not. And I love using the Muse headband for feedback when I meditate. And I also recommend this to others because it's one of those things where we can get feedback on our situation, whether it's how well we're doing on this target or that target, we can start to monitor and see how things are going. So when it comes to meditation, we know if it's working, quote unquote, if we truly feel more relaxed, more emotionally regulated, we don't have highs and lows and outbursts during the day. And this comes from a regular practice of breathing and connecting to you. And right now, a quick interruption of today's podcast to send some love to our show's sponsor, Four Sigmatic. Four Sigmatic is the mushroom coffee you see me posting about and drinking all the time. This stuff is so energizing, delicious, and nutritious, Fit Mama. The benefits are too many to name here. But did you know that we humans are more closely related to fungi than any other kingdom? Interesting, eh? I drink one or more of these little cups of delight almost every day, and the non-jittery boost of energy and calm that I get at the same time, as well as focus. It really helps me focus. My favorite is the Think Mix, which has lion's mane and chaga in it, which is yummy. When you bring it up towards your nose, it does have a little bit of a mushroom aroma, but it tastes so good. It's very earthy and just delicious. I'd love to know which ones you've tried and how you like them. I would really love to hear. So just to give you a quick idea, drinking your mushrooms is an incredible way to boost your immunity and keep your body and mind healthy for all the amazing things you do in a day, Fit Mama. Thank you for sharing. Focused breathing is one of the ways that I really teach this, and it makes the biggest difference. So when we don't feel good about ourselves or about our life in general, we don't want to participate in health-promoting behaviors. Have you ever felt that before? Have you ever felt that before? When we get fatigued or grumpy, we're tired or sore, we find reasons to abstain. We find reasons to say no. We think, oh, I'm too tired. I can't get to the gym. Oh, I don't have the energy for that. Oh, it's not worth it. What the heck does it matter anyway if I go to the gym today? Or we say a line that I hear quite often, I am an emotional eater. And sometimes this serves as an excuse. Sometimes this is truly a reality. When we start to feel emotional, stressed, frustrated, angry, resentful, regretful, whatever, we can identify that, yeah, I reach for a bag of chips, ice cream, chocolate, wine, whatever. I am an emotional eater. And while people, when they admit this to me, are usually not that proud of it, I tend to cheer for them. I honestly am the biggest advocate for people identifying that they are an emotional eater. And here's why. Because they're aware of it. And awareness is one of the best things that you can have going on for you. I think it is a gift. If you can be aware enough to realize you're an emotional eater, then you have identified that your emotions affect your behavior. And when you identify this, there is something that we can do about it, which is great. There's something in psychology called trait self-control, which refers to the actual personality trait that represents one's ability to self-regulate their emotions, behavior, and cognitions. So people have different levels of trait self-control. This is a personality trait. So some people are just better at it. Remember what I talked about of Gretchen Rubin. She talks about meeting inner and outer expectations. And there are some people, like upholders, who uphold anything that they set for themselves or that someone else sets for them. Meanwhile, there are others like rebels who tend to not meet any outer or inner expectations because they just want to do their own thing. So people differ in this self-regulatory capacity, much the way they differ in other personality traits such as introversion, extroversion, or optimism, pessimism. These are just one aspect of people's personality traits. Some people are just better self-regulators and others are just not as good. No judgment. Self-regulation in the literature, though, points to the fact that self-regulation or willpower can become depleted. So even though some people are better self-regulators than others, there is only a limited amount of self-regulation that each of us has. Maybe some people have more than other people, but all of us only have a limited amount for us. So it's like a pool. Imagine a swimming pool. This pool only has so much water in it. My pool may be bigger or smaller than your pool, but each of us has our own pool of willpower to draw upon. In addition, that we only have this limited amount, there are three things that deplete our self-regulation, and when it's depleted in one domain, it can be depleted in another domain. So what that means is there's three domains: emotions, cognitions or thoughts, and physical behaviors. So all three of these tap into that same limited pool of willpower that you have. And if you become depleted in one, let's say you run a marathon that day, you are very likely to be depleted in your emotions and in your thinking capacity because you physically have completely depleted yourself. So it's really, really, really interesting to me. I found this to be very interesting. And I think this is very commonly observed now that if we've had a really, really rough emotional day, we can feel completely physically depleted, which is really good to identify. So this explains basically why after you've had a really hard day at the office, or you stayed up all night with your baby, or you had an emotional breakdown with a friend or a family member, you can have absolutely nothing left in your tank to make it to the gym or to regulate yourself to make a healthy dinner instead of drive by and pick up a pizza or whatever your natural tendency might be. So it's really interesting. So really think about that. I mean, really let this sink in for a sec, Fit Mama. If you deplete your emotions, your cognitions or your thoughts, your mental effort. So if you're an accountant and it's tax season and you're just doing calculations all day, you are probably zonked by the end of the day. And even if you've just been sitting in your desk or at your desk in your chair all day, you are probably completely physically exhausted and you don't have the willpower or self-control to get yourself to the gym on your way home from work. I know, it's strange to imagine if you haven't physically moved yourself how you can be physically exhausted, but doesn't matter. It is truth. And there have been studies showing that when someone is depleted in one area, they will deplete in another. And this is actually what I did in my master's thesis. I had people being depleted in one area, and I had them doing a task to see how long they would persist. So to me, this is a very interesting line of research, and it's an area I love to study. The good news about all of this is that this resource or this limited amount of willpower or self-control becomes depleted, yes, but has the potential to be replenished. It is like a muscle where when your muscle fatigues because you've done too many reps, you can rest, you can rejuvenate, you can take some supplements or whatever, and you can build it stronger. Yes, isn't that so cool? Willpower is like a muscle that you can strengthen. So just like lifting weights for your muscles to bring it to adapt to heavier and heavier loads, you can load your self-regulatory capacity and become stronger and stronger over time. And this leads you to also not have to worry about relying on so much willpower. If you can create routines and rituals around it, which is what we teach in the Fit Mama Foundations. Studies have shown that when participants are asked to follow a program designed to have them consistently self-regulate, for example, this is just a simple task like keeping proper posture. Okay, this was used in a study as something that where someone had to regulate themselves. So keeping proper posture at your desk all day for 3 weeks, this person who did that, or the participants in the study who did this, actually became better self-regulators in a test in a completely different domain. Okay, completely different domain. So after they sat at their desk, keeping proper posture for 3 weeks, focusing on this as a self-regulation task, these researchers found that the people who did that versus the people who didn't actually persisted longer on solving puzzles. Okay, unsolvable puzzles. So these puzzles they could have worked at all day and all night and they never would have solved them. But people persisted longer, which means they didn't give up as soon when they practiced keeping proper posture for 3 weeks. Okay, this is the power of this, and this is so exciting. And, as keen as I was for the gym, 10, 15 years ago, I am that keen for this right now, and I'm still keen for the gym. But the keenness I have for this is because this is power. This is power for you to know that you don't have to succumb to weak willpower, and you don't have to see willpower as either your friend or enemy. You can just see it as a tool that you can build up stronger, and you can identify when it becomes weak and how to replenish it. OMG, this is exciting. I hope you are feeling as excited about this as I am, because this is where the power lies for you to actually get the results that you want in any domain, in any aspect of your life that you're working towards. You can achieve it because you can regulate your own self through self-regulation, and you can work on identifying which area you specifically need to strengthen. So all this forms a very interesting body of research, and it just doesn't stop there. That's the best part. What about the replenishment? I want to talk about that for a second, because it's great, that we have this limited resource. It's great that we can strengthen it over time, over 3 weeks. But what about in the immediate? What about when I am completely depleted at the end of the day, but I do want to continue going to the gym or start a new routine or cook a healthy dinner, or whatever the case is? Well, there is much to be learned here, and there's ongoing research happening, but studies have shown that positive emotion brought on actively, so choosing to do something that brings you positive emotion and feel good vibes, such as your favorite song, visiting a friend or chatting on the phone to a friend, watching a funny movie clip or listening to a comedy clip, can actually replenish some of the willpower. And that person can then persist longer on the task, or summon up the willpower to go do something that they originally didn't think they were going to do. So for example, when you are feeling depleted at the end of the day, imagine something that you can do to boost your mood, to actually boost your emotions, because we think that when we're having a bad day, we need to eat something that's going to make us feel better. And inevitably, chocolate, ice cream, chips, whatever your fancy might make you feel a little bit better for a very short time. But it's unlikely after you have a chocolate bar that you're going to want to go to the gym, or that you're going to have any energy after your sugar crash happens. I just want to take another quick second here to announce a second show sponsor for today. This sponsor is Muse, brain sensing technology. As I am always talking about on the Fit Mama podcast and online, taking the time to quiet your mind, create space and calm is essential to living a loving Fit Mama life. This is achieved through meditation, among other things. One of the tools I've discovered to make this even more of an achievable goal in your life is Muse. Muse is a headband that you wear, and the sensors actually sense your brainwave activity. I know. And then it gives you feedback as to whether you are in the calm zone or if your brain patterns are a bit stormy. Literally, it has storm sounds, then birds when your brain is calm. It's very fun. It's like training your brain by lifting weights or dancing to a routine. This creates the neural pathways to help boost your connection to calm all day, every day, by training and knowing exactly how it feels. I don't think there's anything better. Real-time feedback for your brain training. It's worth it, and the data is out there to show it. Meditation improves lives, and it will improve yours. Start today with 15% off all your orders at Muse using the link in the show notes today. And back to our show. So the take-home message here is that if we can become aware of the fact that certain things are bound to deplete us of our willpower, and we only have a limited amount of it, perhaps we can plan our lives a little bit better in order to achieve our goals, and realize that keeping our emotions positive will help us overcome any depletion in the moment in time. So we know that if it's going to be a rough day, we know tomorrow's a long day, why don't we plan on having a call with our best friend on our drive home from work or on our drive to the gym so that we can feel much more positive? Because so often we'll get into the car after work and we'll turn on the radio for our long commute and we'll listen to some kind of negative news story or some music that may pump us up, but it may not give us exactly the mood boost that we need. So if you can actively choose your favorite pump up song on your way to the gym after work or on the way to the gym in the morning, then you will inevitably lead to greater success and consistency because you will have much more of that self-regulatory capacity. So say, for example, that you have a really demanding job, which all of us do as parents. But if you have kids that really demand a lot, or it's a hands-on time of your life, changing diapers, doing everything with the kids for the kids, this requires a high level of attention. So it will take a lot of your energy, whether it's your emotions, your cognitions and thoughts, or physically. But by the end of the day, you are going to be mentally and physically too exhausted to create a healthy dinner. Let's say this is your story. And I know this is a story for many, many, many of us fit mamas. And, the only thing we want to do at this point is lie on the couch, put our feet up, have someone bring us a glass of wine or food that they cooked, and call it a night. Well, unfortunately, this is most of us that cannot do that because of our situation and we have kids. So perhaps we can arrange our lives a little bit better and make things a little bit easier on ourselves. So when we're just hanging out with the kids in the kitchen, making dinner, perhaps we make a little bit extra and we plan for tomorrow. Maybe we chop up a few extra veggies or cook a few extra pieces of dinner so that we can eat it for lunch or dinner again tomorrow night. Maybe we can plan and prep to turn on the slow cooker in the morning when you know you have a big long day ahead. So later your depletion doesn't lead you to going to the pizza joint because dinner is waiting for you when you arrive home and it smells good. Perhaps you pack your gym bag the night before or head to the gym in your lunch hour instead of waiting till the end of the day when you're depleted and you don't have enough strength to get through a tough workout anyway. I, for example, know that I always need to work out in the morning. I love the morning. I have more energy in the morning. I'm more apt to follow through with my plan in the morning. And it's not only more likely because I have energy, but less things interfere with exercise in the morning. I'm so much less depleted. I haven't done a whole bunch of stuff that needs my attention yet. And it just feels good to do it first thing. So far, in the literature, one of the only things that seems to be able to replenish self-regulation when it is fully depleted, when that pool truly has nothing left, which is where a lot of us find ourselves at the end of a day, week, or month, or year even, we can do this. One of the pillars of the Fit Mama Foundations is sleep. Sleep is one of the only really tried, tested, and true, over and above positive emotion, that actually replenishes self-regulation and does so in such an effective way that this sleep allows us to refill that pool. Sleep is like putting a hose in your swimming pool when it is down and empty and filling it all the way back up to the top. One night of sleep might give it only a few inches of water, but one night might give it a few more inches of water. So take the time to fit and prioritize sleep into your schedule so that you have the ability to truly and fully replenish. Because we know that our emotions are related to our behavior and to our self-regulation, which affects our behavior, I recommend taking your time, Fit Mama, each day for some focused, relaxing, quiet breathing and emotional regulation. Emotional regulation comes not from your head trying to rationalize things and say, oh, you should just be relaxed right now, which never works, obviously. It's about getting into your body and starting to breathe and reconnect with you and quieting down the mind, not making it more active. Even if it's in the bathroom for a few minutes at work or home, quiet breathing will absolutely give you some self-regulation replenishment. Also remember this, Fit Mama. All tasks don't have to tap into willpower. If you can get into a consistent routine around working out every morning or going to the gym on your way home from work instead of to the drive-through, one day soon it won't feel so hard. It will feel as routine as brushing your teeth, and it may even be something that you start to look forward to. Yes, you heard it here. You can look forward to all those things that you think take so much willpower. They will just become part of your day and your life. So having said that, Fit Mama, I am hoping this episode has given you some food for thought on how you can become more aware of when and how your days are depleting your self-regulatory reserves and how this depletion affects your behavior and running towards your goals, or is it holding you back? Are you more apt to yell at your spouse or kids after a bad day because it becomes harder to control your emotions? Are you likely to binge eat at night or have one too many drinks after a rough day? Are you more likely to eat poorly when you're working on a big project with a deadline or studying for exams? If you are, then it is likely because you're depleting your self-regulatory pool. And if you can become more aware of that and not give in to it and do the strengthening of sleep and positive emotion, you can potentially strengthen your ability to self-regulate and take even more mentally, emotionally, and physically taxing things to reduce your resources. So if you can start to strengthen that self-regulation, you'll notice that just like a muscle needs a heavier weight to make it soar, you will need more intense emotional, physical, and mental things to reduce your resources of willpower. So you can build up your tolerance, so to speak. And just remember, above all, consistency breeds habit, and it all starts from within. When we use negative language towards ourselves, we naturally don't feel good, and we don't want to care about treating ourselves with loving respect. We just feel like crap, so we don't follow through. Start with love, Fit Mama, and compassion for yourself. And this will keep you in the positive headspace that allows you to just do the things you want to do and leaves the excuses for the negative people. You aren't one of them. Follow through for a happier you, Fit Mama. It's a virtuous cycle for you to enjoy. To answer the question, is willpower your friend or enemy? I would say friend. And the more you can love it and nurture it and build it like a muscle, the more it will be on your side. Have a great day, Fit Mama. Namaste.